Hi guys, welcome to the new episode of Kind Life with Irak. In today's video, we will talk about AIESEC and how AIESEC can change your life with student exchange programs and how you can travel abroad with meaningful purposes. Let's start. So I'll tell you about my journey with AIESEC, but first I want to go over what is AIESEC and how you can get involved. First of all, AIESEC is one of the biggest student organizations in the world that empowers youth voices and organize international exchange programs all over the world. There are three programs in AIESEC. One is Global Teach, second, Global Internship, and Global Voluntary Services. They have different goals and missions and application fees. However, when you become an intern, as far as I know, there is a possibility that you can get a contract and a little intern salary, but not necessarily for every position. So first of all, Global Volunteer is more for students. Students without any experience, so students who want to gain some sort of experience, students who want to just travel. So it's more junior thing, I can say. The internship program is a little bit more based on your experiences. However, it's still an internship, so okay, that's controversial. It's not a senior level or expert level of position, but some of them hire with certain titles like specialist. In Global Teacher, you can basically teach English or a language abroad, the one must be preferred. So how it works, you need to create a profile, which I will actually put here. You need to register your name, your email address, and you need to create a profile. You have to put your background information, your education, the university, what experiences you have, your interests, the languages you speak. And you have to create a nice profile. Of course, don't forget to put your profile picture. Then you need to click search button and decide which of these three components you want to go for. In my case, the last time I joined AIESEC program was in 2021, right after COVID. I applied a project in Serbia, and it was about leadership development with youth entrepreneurship. Mine was in case not a paid position, and it was only for 6 weeks. Depends what you look for. If you're looking for an internship, a global talent program, then you need to consider a longer term commitment. And of course, there are application fees. Those fees are actually based on country and the project, but generally a global talent program is a little more expensive than the volunteer. However, this is just AIESEC service fee. It has nothing to do with the program as far as I know. And you only need to pay this money if your project is approved, if you're accepted, not before. In my case, I was in Belgrade in 2021 with leadership development experience, and it was quite nice. I was in contact with AIESEC Serbia national team, and they organized 6 weeks of workshops and presentations made by different people and experts in the field, including entrepreneurs, university lecturers, influencers, and so on. There were high school students who were there attending, and we as AIESECers were actually entitled to help them facilitate the process and supervise them, because there was a competition at the end of the program, which was we had to design an entrepreneurship project draft for any idea, and the jury had to decide which one is better. As far as I remember, our was about international cafe, and we want to create an environment for language practicing in a specific cafe with a lot of gatherings with internationals and expats to speak any language. Okay, today it's quite common and so many organizations already do this, but back then, some years ago, I'm talking about, it was kind of new. I think we were second or the third in competition. I don't remember who was the first, but I think we did a good job. Like, me and my student had a great connection. We had wonderful time and we enjoyed, and that's the point. Anyway, so if you decide, in each section you are asked to upload your resume and a cover letter. Sometimes they don't ask cover letter, but generally they do, where you express your expression of interest and why you want to take part in this program. And the limit is, I think, 1,000 characters. I hate that. because I speak a lot. Okay, you created your profile, you searched a project that's in a country or a city of your interest, and you open it, you uploaded your resume, wrote your cover letter, and send your application. What happened next? So if they like your profile, they contact you via your email and telling you that they would like to have a video call with you, an interview process to meet up, you know, what you look like, how you speak, also to better understand your motivation behind. And then generally they only do one interview as far as I remember. And then if you guys agree, if they like you, if they have no other better candidate, they select you. And then they send you a contract, which is about the project, what you will do, and application fee. But the contract is drafted by AIESEC, not from the other organization. So AIESEC drafts this between you and the other entity, and you need to sign it. And then the process starts. You need to pay the application fee. Back then it was, I think, 400 Turkish lira, because I was in Turkey. I have no idea how much it is now. But I saw last time in AIESEC page, registered in Italy, it was up to 400 euros. And then what it covers. So sometimes they provide you computer, sometimes they provide you accommodation, which was my case. And sometimes they provide you food. So one of these or both of them are generally covered, but rarely all of them. In my case, all I need to do was to book my tickets and go, because my accommodation was covered by them. We were staying in a student dormitory in a central place in Belgrade, and I needed to cover my meals because that was not offered. And I actually didn't need any computer, so nothing. And any other extra thing that you want to travel around surrounding countries or anything, it's up to you. You need to cover your costs. But generally they provide you accommodation in most of the cases. So when you apply, when you are searching for the project, what you need to focus is the place, of course. That's generally what students are mostly focused on. Country of interest, the city, and I really, really recommend you to understand well what they offer you, if it's a free accommodation, free meal, computer, or whatever. Because based on that, your spendings there will increase or decrease. And also be careful also the requirements in AIESEC. You have to adjust your profile based on the requirements they're asking for. If they're asking computer skills, you need to complete it in your profile. You need to put it there. They should match. Otherwise, system doesn't allow you to send the application anyway. And the language requirement, the background, they should match to be able to send the application. And also, I really recommend you to check the description of the task. It should be something that you're aligning with, something you like, so you enjoy the fullest. And lastly, the visa procedure is up to you. AIESEC has nothing to do with that. They can provide you an invitation letter or a proof of paper that you are actually going to that country for that specific purpose. But more than that, they don't assist. So visa procedure is up to you. It's on your cover, it's your responsibility. So what about my experience? Well, I would like to share you what I learned from this journey and my thoughts about that kind of youth exchange programs. First of all, my journey was amazing because it was also right after COVID, where I really, really needed to socialize and, you know, continue my travels, because so many countries were not allowing entries from Turkey back then. And of course, there were travel limitations, even in Schengen countries among themselves. So it was quite tricky. And the reason I specifically went to Serbia was exactly this reason. My plan in 2020 was to work in a kindergarten, raise money in 4 months, and go to Switzerland for a volunteering program in the Alps of Switzerland, in the mountains. However, things didn't happen as expected. So COVID was really, really challenging. In 2020, as just like many of you, I couldn't travel. But the next year, still the restrictions were continuing. So Serbia project happened because they accepted me. There were no travel restrictions to Serbia. and most people in that country were vaccinated, so it was quite flexible. All I needed to do was to 2 doses of vaccine proof, then I was good to go. And that's what I did. But the 6 weeks was just amazing. Actually, I was there even more, maybe 7 weeks approximately, and so many adventures. I met my current boyfriend there, and of course, a lot of beautiful friendships who I am still in contact today. Someone really nice and beautiful gifted me a nice trip to Montenegro. That was a lady called Bojana, who was a university teacher at University of Belgrade. And someone really kind was just gifting trips to volunteers, and that was my ticket to Montenegro. And I had this beautiful opportunity to travel to Herceg-Novi, Budva, and all these beautiful landscapes of Montenegro. Oh my god, this country, you need to go. It's so nice. It was 13-hour bus trip from Belgrade to Herceg-Novi. I remember it was a night trip. I remember with the first lights of the morning, I was able to see huge mountains, and I was just astonished by the beauty and nature of this country. I really recommend. It's really cheap as well. And food, approximately a dish of pasta or a fulfilling meal is approximately 5-6 euros, not more. You can eat an amazing crepe or waffle for 1 euro. Souvenirs are approximately 1 or 2 euro maximum, depending on what, but a magnet is not more expensive than 1 euro. Lastly, taxi was 4 euro. And then, of course, I was not able to travel to. Then once I saw a friend in a restaurant who I was having lunch with, and she told me that she has been in Vienna. And I was like, what? How is possible? Because that country doesn't accept visitors because of COVID. But apparently they were from Serbia. So I booked my 8-hour trip to Vienna at the end of my Belgrade trip. And I was able to even travel. And then I traveled back to Italy. Of course, a lot of adventures, but that's another story. So this trip was full of surprises for me, a lot of friendships, a lot of stories, a beautiful opportunities to see so many countries. I've been in 4 countries that summer, despite the COVID restrictions. And I loved Serbia. I think, especially Belgrade, where I lived, it was such a beautiful city, really tourist friendly, and people were so nice. They were so kind, and it was an adventure full of surprises, a lot of learning and friendships for me. And I really believe that kind of youth projects are one of the mainstays of this global peace efforts, because basically the more we get global, the more we are accepting and acknowledging differences and inclusion, the world becomes a place where we cannot just be racist. The more international we become, the less racism and prejudices towards each other, because it's so easy to judge other people or create hate, because hate is quite strong feeling and it's spread fast and easily. But the peace is coming from acceptance, inclusion, and love, and embrace of different people, different views, and different territories and cultures. And that's what exactly this kind of youth exchange programs beyond our national borders are so important to participate. They don't just increase your intellectual level, but also people fall in love, people learn, people find jobs, people just cross their borders and challenge themselves and challenge everything they knew, including their nationalist habits and beliefs, which is sometimes okay and important to preserve, but in a world where we're living racism and increasing far right and hate speech, I really think that those kind of youth projects, those are so important to keep people together and create peace, because the more we travel and embrace different cultures, the less we become violent and hateful. I don't know, Serbia was so generous to me. I will never ever forget this experience, and it was a huge it created such a huge impact in my life, um, that I will always benefit, let's say, in terms of skills, my word knowledge, the people in my life, and all the beautiful memories. And if you decide to be an AIESEC volunteer, please contact me. I would be so happy to help you, assist you, and be brave. You never know what those kind of experiences can bring to you. Life is full of surprises, and people are even more. So be brave and knock the door and try your chances. So all in all, I really recommend AIESEC if you want to travel the world, but if you want to do something along with it, like a project, internship, or voluntary services, I think AIESEC is a perfect program for you, where you can find so many opportunities. I love you all and have a wonderful day. Bye.